Alright, welcome back to the Domicom channel. We are right now going to go over a very basic scenario for 5th edition 40K where we're going to have the Space Marines versus Necrons. We'll do close-ups on those in just a minute. This review is going to be about how to play the game. It's not going to go into tactics. The armies that we have set up might not even be the best ones, and we're starting with 750 points, just so again that people who are new to the game can get a flavor for whether or not they're playing it right. You know, just this is a very basic introductory video, and we try to select units in such a way that we are showing quite a bit of the game all up, during this review. So before we go any farther, let's go ahead and take a look at the various armies. This is a 750 point army, really it's 746, and we're going to break it down for you. We have a Chapter Master with a bolt pistol and a power weapon. We have 2 separate squads. This is important when you're playing Warhammer 40K. In your Force Organization chart, you must have 1 HQ and 2 separate troop choices in order to play. So these are 2 separate troops. We're going to show you kind of more about how they can be deployed when we get into the deployment phase. The other pieces of the puzzle, we're going to have 1 assault squad, which is a fast attack option, and 2 separate heavy support options. This is a Predator with simply an autocannon, and this is a Whirlwind. Usually I play Black Templar, but because I think doing this video with a vanilla Marine chapter would actually be more beneficial, we're going to be playing this as, even though they've got all the Maltese cross, just pretend like they're a vanilla Space Marine chapter. We're not playing salamanders, we're not playing any kind of specialized characters. This is just a standard Space Marine chapter. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Necrons. Alright, now that we're going to review the Necrons, I'm actually going to have the Necron player discuss what his troop selections are. But you'll see again that just like the Space Marines, the Necrons have to play 1 HQ choice and 2 separate troop choices. Let's take a look at those now. So we start right here. This is a Necron Lord with a Resurrection Orb. And any other special war gear?
No, not for this one.
Okay.
Standard Gauss weapon.
Standard Gauss weapon and a Resurrection Orb. He also has 2 sets of Necron Warriors. So again, this is his HQ choice and his 2 troop choices. Now beyond this, which is required in the Force Organization chart, the Necron player is also bringing on 1 fast attack option in the form of 5 separate heavy destroyers.
Just destroyers.
Oh, sorry. 5 separate destroyers.
Yeah. And for those who are watching this and wondering, the Lord with the Resurrection Orb and the 2 troop choices comprise 500 points.
So for a Necron army, when you're playing the very most basic game of 500 points, typically this is all you're going to be bringing. We'll go into some specific details regarding each special army, like what is a Resurrection Orb as we play. The next thing that we do, now that Dale and I have both come to this game knowing that we're going to play 750 points. So I came up with my list, he came up with his list. Now that we're here, we're going to take a look at the gaming table. What you're seeing here is a typical gaming table. 6 feet wide. It is a little bit longer than 4 feet across. Actually, probably closer to 4.5 feet. But this is a fairly standard looking size table, and it has a nice little splattering of terrain on here. Now we need to talk about what terrain is. Terrain comes in 3 different kinds. One that's just basically what this bed sheet is, which is flat land. It gives you no cover save, and we'll talk about what a cover save is. And it causes no issues with movement. Then you have areas of terrain such as these rocky hills, this little jumble of stuff. That is classified as difficult terrain. It impedes movement for your infantry, and it can also immobilize vehicles. The last piece, which is this middle section right here, is a tar pit that we're calling. That would be classified as dangerous terrain. Okay, Now, dangerous terrain has special things because if you land in dangerous terrain, you typically have to take a whole bunch of different saves just to make sure your guys survive. What we don't have on here, and what I think we'll go ahead and add right this very second, is something called, we're going to add this tower in here, is impassable terrain. It means that you cannot walk through it. Unlike difficult terrain, you cannot send an infantry or a vehicle through the impassable terrain. Now, we're playing 750 points. In a typical 500 point scenario, instead of playing on a 6x4 foot table, you would play on a 4x4. The reason is that the game would take forever just foot slogging across the field to get to your opponents. We're playing 750 points. What Dale and I have agreed to do is literally cut off a foot of the table on this side, so it's going to end up being basically a 5x4.5 foot table, so that we can kind of get into the action quicker. We're only going to be reviewing 1, 2, maybe 3 rounds if we have time. But it's just going to, again, this is just for the basics of how to play Warhammer.